was 18 when I got pregnant with my son. I was not in a place to financially raise him, and my first options to think of were either to parent and have him struggle with me or to abort him, which was not an option I was wanting to choose. My mom brought it to my attention about adoption. Like myself, a lot of pregnant people at a young age decide to abort instead of realizing that there's more than one option out there. In the adoptive process, there are three major roles: the adoptive parents, the birth mom, and the adoptee. Birth moms make the selfless choice to place their child for adoption for more than one reason. Usually it's they're in college or they're wanting to further their future plans. They have no partner. Their financial status is not where it needs to be. So when she decides that parenting is not an option and she doesn't want to abort, she's guaranteeing herself a second chance to give herself life as well as her child. They also, as birth parents, if the partner is involved, also have the chance to financially get ready to finish their schooling. They are being selfless about the whole situation. And so when they finally decide on wanting to do adoption, the next step is to find the adoptive parents. Most of the time with adoptive parents, they learn that they're infertile and they're incapable of reproducing their own genes. So their next step is usually to try fertility treatments. One of the major ones is in vitro. However, only 30 to 35% of women under 35 are successful with these treatments. If the treatments are not successful, after the first couple of times, most of the time the parents decide it's time to stop and adopt because the in vitro treatments are extremely expensive. That's when they turn to wanting to adopt a child. They usually go through an adoption agency, or in my case, the adoptive parents just kind of happen to fall in the birth mother's lap. Most of the time, the adoptive parents are looking to share their life's little moments with a child. They want to have the family of their own. They're financially ready. They're stable. And they're wanting to also have someone to carry on their name. Now, when the time comes, the adoptive parents and the birth parents get together and decide what they want from the adoption. So the adoptee comes into the picture, the child, and they're given a second chance to have a life instead of, in a sense, being killed. They are placed with a family who has a walkthrough with an agency where they find out if the parents are financially stable and if they're able to raise them. And most of the time, they are. Once they start to look, the adoptee eventually learns that the birth mother is selflessly placing them, that it's not out of an unwant. It's out of wanting to give them a second chance and loving them so much that they want to give them a second chance. They want to give their child a chance to live and thrive and not be in an unstable home. So, as we've talked about, you can see abortion and parenting are not the only two options for an unplanned pregnancy. There is also the option of adoption. The three major roles, which are the adoptive parents, the birth mom or birth parents, and the adoptee, is called the adoption triad. Once the family is accepted in the court rules, they are official and the family accepts the adoptive child as if they were their own. Now, if you ever come to the point in life where I was, where you were not expecting to have a child, I hope, in all honesty, that you choose to do adoption instead of essentially killing off your child.